morning. You're having breakfast with Tay, and this is episode 2 of Good Morning, Bay. I have my friend, my alma mater sister here with me, Amber, and she is our in-residence bae today. Say hello to the people, Amber.
Hi, everyone.
Amber and I went to college together, as I stated, and we were a part of a lot of the same groups, a lot of the same departments. She danced with me. I'm very grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So now on Good Morning Bae, we do the same check-in that we used to do in Wanawake. We do the 2 roses and the 1 thorn. If I had to pick 2 roses, it would definitely be this beautiful garden. This is one of my favorite gardens on campus. Yeah. And my other rose would be having you here today. My thorn would be, I'm a very forgetful person, and that has made today very eventful. Amber, what would be your 2 roses and a thorn for today?
2 roses. So 1 rose would be that I'm alive, I'm breathing.
Yes, being alive.
Another rose could be, I took a practice exam today, and I did really well. So
it's the glasses. She's so smart,
y'all. You know, my nerdy skills is working for me today.
Nice.
And the thorn would be, days are not long enough yet. I really like long summer days, and I'm just waiting for it to come.
I feel it. Every week we do a quote of the week. This episode is dedicated to being Afro-Latina, specifically female identifying, Afro-Latina self-identifying, and what that means. So we're gonna spend the episode unpacking some bite-sized pieces of our experience so y'all can get some contrast, you know what I'm saying, some different narratives. And our quote of the week actually comes from a video right here on YouTube that's called Who Gets to Identify as Afro-Latino? I love this conversation. It has all types of different people, all types of different genders, phenotypes from all over America talking about their experience being Afro-Latino.
Pero también es una afirmación que de hoy en adelante es así como yo me identifico y es así como voy a impulsar a mi familia, a mis hijos, a mi próxima generación a que contribuyan a ese reconocimiento cultural.
That translates to, it's an affirmation that from now on, this is how I identify and how I can motivate my family, my children, and the next generation to contribute to that cultural awareness. And of course, the culture that the person who made this quote, My Elka Prado Gil, is referring to is Afro-Latino culture. Our coping technique of the week. I'm laughing because this is very simple, but this has definitely been my saving grace. Coping technique for the week is going to bed early. I am a night owl, and I love to stay up late. I don't know about you.
No.
Amber can't relate. But for those of you who like to stay up late, call yourself being productive or just trying to have some downtime, a lot of times I find that actually makes me very tired in the morning and dramatically affects my entire day. Try it out, babe. Take you some melatonin, have a shower and a glass of wine, have an orgasm, lay it down early, whatever you need to do, catch up on your rest. The first thing I want to ask both of us is, what does it even mean to be Afro-Latino?
For me, that means the richness that is me, the Mexican heritage that I bring to the table, the Black side that I bring to the table, all that I've learned over the years of myself as, you know, identifying as these 2 cultures, and just the stuff that has nothing to do with being Mexican or Black that makes me me. All of that combined.
To me, Afro-Latino is anyone from a Latin-derived country that has that heritage, as well as African heritage. Here, that would look like African-American, but it could look like anything because there are 56 countries in Africa. There are all kinds of Latin countries. Even if like someone was from Ireland, their experience being in Ireland culturally, as well as their Latin and African background, all would be a part of their experience as an Afro-Latino person. And they're allowed that intersection of also the nationality piece as well as the ethnicity piece because the entire experience is Afro-Latino. What is your experience being Afro-Latina? The reason why I brought Amber is because her experience is very different from my experience being Afro-Latina. I haven't had the affirmation of being Latina because for Black people, a lot of what we identify as has to do with hard and fast facts. Like, who's on the birth certificate, who you know your daddy is. Historically, our people don't have very much of a paper trail because we're displaced people, so we go off of paperwork. So I wasn't allowed to identify as Afro-Latina until I had my paperwork. My aunt applied for something for some kind of insurance, and we found out that my grandfather on my father's side is from a city 4 hours out of Havana. It's like southeast, called San Antonio de los Iguanas or de los Baños. Due to kind of an estranged family history, I never got a chance to celebrate that. So even though I am Afro-Latina, my experience identifying that has been very like recent within my adulthood.
My experience, depending on the stage of my life that I was in, defined that question in a different way. So I was born into a Mexican household. My mom was a single parent. My experience was Mexican, thoroughly Mexican. I knew I looked different, and I knew my father was black. And I spent a little bit of time with his parents, but I was told in school that I wasn't black. I was definitely Mexican. Then there was also the people who just didn't know what to make of me, who I was, where I was from, who I was. I definitely had, I think, an identity crisis starting at maybe 9 years old, not really knowing what group to fit into, whether it was Mexican, whether it was black. There wasn't any mixed kids around. That was my experience then until I started college and started to sort of take hold of my blackness, take hold of my Mexicanness. Then I went off to medical school and just came into my own and blossomed into the person that I am today. And all of that is my experience in a nutshell.
So my last question is, how has your experience been different in different countries and communities? I've never been outside of this country, but my experience being Afro-Latina has definitely been different in different communities. Out here we have a predominantly Chicano population. I think California is like 65% Mexican. A lot of times people look phenotypically Mexican and they're considered Mexican, and out here if you black, you just black. We don't really have an intersection for children who are both. So either you speak the language and you got the hair to match, the skin to match, you cooking all the foods, you know all the songs and the dance steps, or you don't. Okay, because their community is set, is solid. Honestly, they should have like historically Mexican colleges in California. This is their land. They know who their people are, okay? I didn't really have much of a different experience because I was always accepted as African American and always looked at as African American. I think one time, like one Cuban man recognized me outside of a crowd and I was like, oh, but other than that, like it's just been me within myself and my family and trying to like ground myself in it.
That experience here in the United States, you just kind of laid it out. Exactly. Me being black and Mexican in this culture, and just like, you know, it's very set, the boundaries are very set. I was definitely outside of those boundaries at all times. Like I was talking about this before, I didn't really fit in with the Mexicans because I didn't look like them or speak the language as well, and then dance moves and knowing what BET was, like I didn't.
The electric slide came on, and all she was doing was cha-cha real smooth, y'all.
That was my experience for the most part here in the United States, predominantly in California. And I also spent 6 years in Cuba for medical school. And so that experience just kind of flipped my world upside down. Cultural shock in a good way. My classmates were every shade of the rainbow. We all spoke Spanish. Black had different definitions depending on what country you're from. So my classmates were from every shade of the rainbow. Their blackness was not called black. It was, I'm from this country, I'm from this culture, I speak this, I dress this way. Because the program I was in was an international program, so I literally had to kind of let go of the categories that I had from the United States and kind of redefine what the heck I was. I know my heritage, but what did that mean when I'm outside of this country and outside of the boundaries that they set in terms of defining of who you are? So that was something really refreshing that I found in Cuba, was even within the Cuban culture, you just are what you look like. So I had arguments sometimes with people that were Cuban that would tell me that I was not black, that I'm mestiza, yeah, period, that's it. And it's like, okay, yeah, but like my heritage is black. And they're like, no, look at you, you're mestiza. And I'm like, okay. You know, just kind of like little nuances. A refreshing way to just kind of define myself. And that's getting away from categorizing myself and just figuring out who I was and what that meant to me have helped me own everything that I am. So yes, I am Mexican, yes, I am black, but I have an experience that is enriched by traveling to Cuba and living there for 6 years and being from the United States and going to college and going to medical school, and all of that together is something beautiful, and it's something only I can contribute to someone else.
So, well, we definitely appreciate your contribution here, Amber. I appreciate your contribution just as someone trying to culturally discover themselves, for grounding it for me in your travels and all of your wisdom on a daily basis as my thither. That is all for this week. We're going to be talking about my 1-year celibacy journey and the things that I learned while keeping it in my pants, babe. We do every other week now, so there will be 2 more weeks and then there'll be another episode. But until next time, you can follow Amber on Instagram at
dra.fe.
And you can stalk me at Good Morning Bay TV on Instagram or Good Morning Bay -TV on Tumblr. Until next time, love you down. Bye.